Hey, this is Senior Director Nakona Koenig, and I want to talk to you today about creating your wedding list. You've probably heard about it or read it in your new consultant packet, so I want to explain what that is. That is your booking list. As you're starting and getting your initial appointments, it's creating a booking list. We call it a wedding list because that's what we're going to compare it to, like when you were planning a big graduation, wedding, retirement party, all of the people that are on that list. So that's why it's called a wedding list. One of our offspring directors, Larissa Newberry, who when she was starting out in Mary Kay, came to me one night and said, I don't have anybody to book. And after we got done with this process, she had over 150 names on her book. So what you need is a blank sheet of paper, maybe a couple, a quiet space, and I'm going to take you through the process that I take new consultants through to creating a long wedding list. You need to be open-minded. You need to not argue back with me. That's what I would tell a consultant if she was sitting right there. It's kind of like when you were doing creative writing as an elementary student and you were jotting down your circle bubble and everything that came to your head. You didn't judge an idea as good or bad. You didn't try to arrange them. You just got it from your brain to the piece of paper. And don't block your flow of thought. Just write. As I come up with each of these categories, just write. It doesn't matter if you think they will, because you really don't know. It doesn't matter. Just start writing names down and trust the process of how I'm taking you through it. Okay, so and if you need to pause this video, pause it while you're writing names down. So the very first category is you're just going to start writing names of immediate family friends, immediate people in your life. And as I'm calling out these categories and as I'm just talking about this, as you're writing names, just let it spark interest. Don't look at your list as a whole. You want to look at your list of people in pockets, and it'll help you generate even more. So the very first one is immediate circle. Who is in your immediate circle? That could be people that your immediate family, your aunts, you do uncles, your cousins, your mom, your mother-in-law, sister-in-laws, family, friends that are just your immediate circle that you talk to on a regular basis. It could be your neighbors, co-workers, church members. Who are the immediate people that you do life with on a daily basis? Like if you were planning your own birthday party or your kid's birthday party, who would be the first ones down on that list? Immediate people. Now I want you to start thinking of your life in categories. So let's think of the very first thing of coworkers. Who are your coworkers that you could practice on? Now this is not if you think she's going to say yes, just write her name down. Now let's think of neighbors. In your block, in your homeowners association, the social committee, people that live in your neighborhood, people that live in your direct town. And you don't have to even know their name. You could even put down like lady with the cute kid or so-and-so's mom. It could be, you can get her name later. Now think about your church, people that you're in Sunday school with, life group with, people that you are sing in choir with, or people that sing in the choir. You could put beautiful soprano lady with the red hair, because you'll find her name later. School, other PTA moms. If you have young children, other daycare moms. Your kids' teachers. Your kids, the parents of your friends, your kids' friends. In my circle, it would be dance moms, other baseball moms, other soccer moms, karate moms, where you're doing life that you see moms and know groups of people. It could be bunco group, where you have groups of people, committees that you serve on. What are some of the committees that you serve on that other women are there in your immediate circle? So we're thinking of people that we do life with, and you don't even totally have to know their names. Now, when you're thinking of extended families like aunts and cousins, people say, well, I don't want to mix business and a family. Well, how would you feel if they showed up on the arm of someone else? That happened to me with my mom's first cousin. I went to Mary Kay Career Conference and heard my name and turned around, and there was my mom's cousin on someone else's team. So if you would be sad if they were somebody else, this client, or on someone else's team because you didn't ask them. So think of that. First cousins, second cousins, third cousins, cousins by marriage, your spouse's cousins. And all you have to, and we're going to teach you how to ask. Okay. Now we're going to go to our second level of circles. These are contacts that you have. So let's think back to elementary, preschool days. Think back to people that were your neighbors that went to church with you then. Like if you were planning your wedding, you would want them to be part of it. Former classmates. So let's think of kindergarten and teachers and neighbors when you were in elementary school. Friends that you were in elementary school with. Your parents' friends when you were in elementary school. And then, so just writing these names down. Then think about junior high and high school. Junior high and high school friends. And if you're not friends with them, friend them on Facebook. Go in search of this. Now, guys, please don't immediately email them if you haven't had contact with them. I'm going to help you with that script. The last thing we want you to do is don't eliminate someone that you haven't talked to in a while, but don't alienate someone because the first thing you say is, I'm doing Mary Kay now. We've all kind of had that happen by other businesses. So I am going to teach you what to say. Right now, we're just working on the list. So when I was making my list, I even thought of my brother's friends. I friended people who they would know who I was, but we don't know each other and may not have had a conversation in a while. But I had rapport with them because they knew who I was because of friends of my brother's. That's called borrowed rapport. Borrowed rapport is people that you may not know directly and they may not have something directly with you, but you have borrowed rapport because you have a person in common. That could also be like with fellow baseball moms or fellow dance moms. You have something in common because of the dance world. So when I'm thinking of my brother's friends, they know me, they know who I am because of my brothers or your sisters. But people that you would associate with that you might say hi to or wave at if you saw them in passing at the grocery store. So looking through that. Then think of college. People that you went to college with. Now, when I was looking on Facebook and wanting to remember people that I went to college with, Facebook has categories that you can search friends and you can type in people who live in Kyle that are on my Facebook. Or people who live in the town that I live in now. And all of those names will come up. And you can start writing those down. Then you can click on hometown if you don't live in your hometown. People who are from your hometown. And you can click on that and those names will come up that you're friends with. And then you can click on college. And so I click on college and everybody that went to UMHB that I'm friends with on Facebook, we have that in common. We may not have been running buddies, but it helps me put people in categories. So if you're jumping all over the place, you may forget someone. So thinking of things in categories, elementary school friends, junior high and high school friends, and people who were associated with me during that part of my life. Now I'm thinking of college friends and writing those names down. Now the next one is early married life. So when I was making my list, I stopped, and this took me about an hour, and every quarter I redo this. And so then I go back through, okay, who have I not thought of that were in early married life when my husband was in seminary? So I think of Southwestern friends, or early married life when I lived in Dallas, when I lived in Belton, when we lived in Dallas. And then I think about my husband was a pastor, so we moved around a lot in our first marriage. When we were first married. And so then I think of, okay, who did I know when I lived in Corpus? And I'm just quiet and I think. and I start looking at Facebook, not to go post, but to look at people. Like I can't look at my friends list as a whole. I'm thinking in categories. So who lives in Corpus? And then I start thinking, who lives in the area of Corpus? Who lives in the area of Dallas? Who lives in the area of Houston? Major cities, way North Texas. And then you start looking, and Facebook will tell you by their demographic. So anytime I'm traveling to an area for one show, like say I've booked a show with some friends from Corpus, I also will click on Facebook and see who lives in Corpus too, that I can call on to stack my appointments so that it's even more, or if one cancels, I'm generating more leads that way. So we've thought about all of that. Now you want to think of people that are on. So we go from our inner circle to an outer circle, and then you can even go to further out and be thinking of people that you at the grocery store. Like if you go through the same Checkers line every single time, or you go through the elementary list and start thinking about your children's classmates of all the people that they've done life with, and start writing those names down. Like they know your face and you have rapport with them because of the commonality of your children. If you have college age kids, what about their friends? What about if you have young adult children? What about their friends? And then their parents. And so then start writing those down because they have borrowed rapport because you have someone in common. And so just start writing these names down and be thinking of activities. So you want to turn your antenna up as you're gathering leads and names of people. Okay, people, start paying your bills in person and meeting the people at the bill places, the where you pay your water, where you bank, where you do where you pay your electricity, and be thinking of also other business owners. Seek out other business owners of people who own other companies as far as small businesses, and begin to network with them. So these categories are going to help you generate a list for your wedding list. And don't hesitate to put anybody's name down, because sometimes we think we know, but we don't. And so if you're looking at your list, that represents, do you have 75 people? Do you have 100 people? Now go back and look at Facebook, and don't look at your Facebook list as a whole. Don't look at your Facebook list like all your friends, because I don't know how Facebook comes up with their logarithms of who shows up in your timeline. Take it and go to your friends list and comb through it and look at all the A's, everyone that falls into the category of A's, and go through each one. Do I like her? Do I want to facial her? And write that person's name down. Then go to the B's and then the C's. And then just keep combing through it and generating your list. Each one of the people on that list, say you have 100 names on your list. Well, that list actually represents 3 to 4 more people, because they know 2 people. They have mothers, they have daughters, they know people. So when you're calling them and you're booking them for individual appointments, and then they can connect you to 3 people, you've now taken that list of 100 people times 3 is now 3 people, and then 300 people. So now you've generated an even bigger list of people that they know. You have to think in plenty. You have to think big picture, not minimal thinking. And when you're generating your list, be careful of any negative thoughts that are going to come up with you. Be careful of saying, I don't know anybody. I don't even know anybody. Like as you're sitting down to write that list. No. Who have I not thought of? Like when I go through this list, and I've done Mary Kay for over 20 years now, and I go through this process every single quarter of regenerating my list. And I say, who have I not thought of yet? And I go back through these categories. Who has not booked with me yet? who was going to book with me, but we never got back to it. So I'm generating the list over and over and over again. And I'm constantly looking to connect with people and draw people into my circle so that I'm always looking and I'm always creating my circle and keeping it big and connecting with other people. So we're going to talk about the scripts of what to say to people and how to interact with people and how to get this list on the books. But right now, I just want you to spend time generating a great booking list or your wedding list. So I hope this helps.